everyone, Dino Watt here, founder and creator of The Business of Marriage. Thank you for joining me once again here on A Marriage Minute. Now, I'm going to talk to you real quickly about something that I think is super important, I guess. Super important. It's very important to me because I've been doing some interviews over the past couple of weeks about people getting in. We interview people who are trying to get into one of what we call our marriage pods, where we take 10 couples at one time and we take them through a 6-month-long process to help them increase their love for each other, obviously their relationship in general, and the income that they have in their life, financially, spiritually, personal development-wise, and in every sense you can imagine. And one of the things I keep coming up against, because I asked this question to especially men, and I'm going to focus on the men, ladies, you listening, because I think this is really important. But and I'm sure you go through this too. It just happened to be that in this last set of interviews, the last 2 weeks, this came up out of the 20 people we interviewed, 10 people we accepted. I'd say about half of the men I talked to had this to say about this. And we asked them a question: how much do you think you are losing financially? How much do you think it's costing you financially, real numbers-wise, in your work when your relationship is not going as well as it should be? How much is it costing you really in your bank account? How much is it costing you in your health and all that other stuff? And the thing that kept coming back over and over again, and I've known this for a while, but I was just so happy to hear some men actually finally saying it, is that they kept saying to me, in essence, that when they are not happy in their relationship, they know it costs them thousands and thousands of dollars. And the average is about $75,000 to $100,000 a year. People realize it's costing them in their relationship. And let me tell you why. What happens, and this is my very artistic drawing of a brain. If you know anything about me, you know that I am creative with both spelling and how I spell words. And also, I can't draw. So this is my little rendition of a brain. Just go with me here. What happens is a lot of these men talk about how when they go to work every day, when they're walking into work, or when they're at work throughout their day, and they're concerned about if they come home, what mood's their wife going to be in? If they come home, or say when they come home, what mood their wife's going to be in. If they're concerned about if they're going to have sex that night, because they haven't had it in weeks. They're concerned about them being able to make her happy, because they've tried everything and they don't know how to make her happy. What happens is, and of course this isn't a scale, this isn't like a Dr. Amen type thing, but just imagine if this was the place where the creativity was in your brain and the productivity area of your brain. Let's just say this is the front of your brain, the frontal, is that the frontal cortex, I guess it would be. So let's just say that area is the area that takes up the space of your creativity and your productivity. Well, what happens, and this is just science according to Dino, that what happens is that because of all of the things that they're worried about, so they're worried about money, they're worried about happiness, they're worried about sex, they're worried about mood, their wife's mood, M-O-O-D, there you go. I told you about spelling. If all these things, and there's so much more that goes on, the kids are happy, what the kids see mom and dad doing, so the modeling, all these things that they know they want to have in their life, but if all these things are clouding this part of their brain that deals with productivity and creativity, then they're not as productive and creative as they could be. And this is what I tell employees all the time, or employers all the time. Corporations saying, look, I guarantee you, if you focus on your employees' relationships, if you give them some sort of relationship help, even let their spouses know that you care about their marriage being strong, their productivity, their creativity will shoot up the roof. But here's the funny thing that happens. Now, this is just a little space that is clouded in their brain, right? However, the moment that they can go every day to work and they can actually have a feeling of accomplishment and and know that no matter what they're doing at work, no matter what's happening, even if money if it's a little tighter, it's not as flowing as it used to be, or even if they're struggling to get and start their career, but they know their wife is always encouraging, saying to them every day as they walk out the door, you're the best coal miner in the world. And when they come home, say, thank you so much for being a great coal miner, or whatever it is that you do. Then this isn't as much as a worry. And then they are, of course, happier, and they know that their wife is happier. Even if she has down days, she still lets him know it's about her, not about him, and that he is her man. Sex is happening 3 to 5 times a week. I don't know how many times I've said this on Marriage Minutes, but if you haven't heard it before, you'll now for the first time, if you've heard it before, you should repeat this. This should be a mantra in your life. 3 to 5 times a week. 3 to 5 times a week. You will change generations if you just get that in your head. And if you want to talk about all the excuses you have of why not to and how you're not in the mood and all this other stuff, Shannon will be more than happy to talk to you about that. Because Shannon is an amazing woman who also understands the beauty of charity. And I'm going to say this might get me in a lot of trouble. Go ahead and email me. Give me all your hate mail if you want. But if you're a Christian woman, forget that. If you're a woman with care and loving in your heart at all, you will be charitable. Charity suffereth long and never faileth. You will be charitable to your husband. Would you, in any case and circumstance whatsoever, see a hungry child, especially your own hungry child, and go, you know what? You got fed a week ago. I gave you a sandwich yesterday. You don't need one today. Would you do that? No way. And don't say, oh, but the husband won't die. Watch your relationship die. If you haven't seen our relationship slope, you will see how your relationship dies. But if he's not worried about sex, if he knows that when he gets home, he's going to be greeted by someone who cares about him, loves him, supports him, thinks he's wonderful, thinks he's the Superman, then the mood won't have to worry about. If he knows that he is doing all those things and you're showing that in front of his kids, he knows that not only are his kids happy with him, but he's also being a great model and trying to do his best. He will strive to give you everything you want as long as you show him that he's your Superman and that he is sexually fulfilled. Now, here's the fascinating thing. If this was the part of the brain that was dealing with creativity and productivity, when those things are gone, what happens to a man's brain is it opens up everywhere. It's not just this area. It's everywhere. The entire brain now functions as a, how am I going to be the best I possibly can be? How am I going to work harder, not even harder? How am I going to work more efficiently? How am I going to be more creative? How am I going to be more productive? And what happens is amazing. It's just awesome. You, on the other hand, you, the spouse, who is on the receiving end of all the bad stuff here, you now all of a sudden see, you guys, start making more money or start being more manage your money better, or you actually see that your money challenges aren't as big as challenges anymore. You have more happiness. You have more fulfilling sex. I know, shocker. Let's just say you actually had more sex because you're being charitable. I would think that maybe you'd enjoy your relationship with your spouse even more because you're giving to them. Your mood is better. Great, by the way, just a little link here. Great antidote for depression or sex, physicality, being physical with somebody else. All right, gospel according to Dino or science according to Dino. Your kids will be happier, more well-behaved, and want to please you because they see if dad does things or mom does things for dad that say, hey, dad, you're pleasing me, then the kids will want to please you too because they want what mom and dad got. And you will be modeling for the kids and for everybody else in your life better than you could do anything else. And what does it take? What do you have to do to get there? It's very, very simple. I just lined it out for you. I just laid it out for you. Knowing that if you can, on a daily basis, make sure your husband knows that you love him and that he is being Superman to you. You can call it Superman, acknowledge, whatever you want to call it. I call it Superman to you. And that he is being sexually fulfilled. He will move mountains for you. See, that's a challenge. And understand, us men are usually challenge-based. We want to accomplish something. But if all we know is no matter what we do, it's not a challenge, it's just a given. We're going to walk in every day to an unhappy wife who complains about money, who doesn't want to give us sex, who's in a bad mood, and our kids are just treating us terribly or her terribly, and we're not modeling what we want to be modeling out in the world. There's no challenge to that. It's given up time. So, know that your husband's brain space is being taken up every day when he goes to work because of these main things. Yet, if these things weren't there and they were not, and they were on this side where they're what he was getting, the entire brain gets activated and he's now more productive, more creative, more loving, more touching, more wanting to communicate with you. All the things you want are bottled in to what he's not getting. So, That's my Marriage Minute for today. I hope you got something out of this. Please email us and let us know. Find us on Facebook and click like right on there to make sure that you get more updates about the business marriage and what we're doing. Remember to always remember that you are responsible for you. Playful out in your relationship, and always, always, always keep it a safe place in your own business of marriage.